Another wonderful evening and welcome to this legal conversation. Tali Tali here, my name. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Joined the bar last year. I joined together with my colleagues. I will just allow them to introduce themselves as we continue with this conversation today.
Yeah. Hello guys. My name is Allan Odede, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. And yes, it's good to be here with you today.
Reuben Charles Okari here. Tali, advocate of the High Court of Kenya. Close to a year in practice. And it's wonderful to be here as well.
Hi, my name is Memory Oyuga Apiyo. I am an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I practice at the coast. I was admitted to the bar last year. It's good to be here.
Thank you. And so considering that we're here today and a lot is happening, but it's even just good to have a conversation amongst ourselves on our experiences as young advocates, understanding that all of us are at the right term to use perhaps is youthful advocates, young advocates, but we are pretty young in the bar. So it's a time maybe we can just share experiences. My colleague Oyuga from the coast, perhaps you could give us your perspectives on the practice space in Mombasa, how it has been for you. Is the bar what you expected?
Very well. I have so far had a good experience in the bar. It has been eased by the good seniors that we interact with. At the coast, we have various activities, especially having been admitted at a time where courts have moved virtual and it's not so easy to keep meeting advocates. At the coast, we have had a good experience because we get to have activities where advocates get to meet and discuss issues. I have also I've received a good reception at the bar by the people who are there, as well as my fellow young advocates. It has been a good ride, even though there have been a few challenges, but I've had a good experience so far.
That is amazing. What about my colleague Okari? How has it been for you?
For me, it's been a bittersweet feeling because, you are adorned with a wig and you expect that reading stops, or at least it will reduce. However, you're faced with challenges and you get some briefs there, you're wondering, hey, how do I navigate this? You have to go back to the books you studied in campus. And it has always been a cycle of reading. But all in all, it's been good. For me personally, I practice in town, Nairobi, and it has been a hustle and a bustle. Unlike the coast where things are a bit chill, for us, you have to be on toes and you have to work very hard to make your money. Otherwise, you will go home hungry. And so far, I really thank the senior whom I'm under, whom I serve. I work in a firm, a sole proprietorship, and my senior has been very instrumental in teaching me litigation especially, and paying attention to detail especially. So those some things you don't learn in school, and I've got to learn them after I've joined the bar, and I love it so far.
You talk of donning the wig, and I look at donning the wig as the wig of responsibility. I don't know if the same feeling has been for you guys about when you don on the wig. Did anything change? Did we have a change in responsibilities and expectations from the society, from our people back at home? Now we used to be students. We have really been in school for a long time. But immediately you don that wig, the society knows you as an advocate. Speaking for myself, there has been a change in expectations, a change in responsibility. So I look at it as donning the wig of responsibility. Either way, the experiences of, I don't know, Allan could share with us his experiences.
Okay, well, unlike my colleagues, I've not been in active practice per se, but I've been an in-house counsel since I donned the wig. On my end, I think the experience has been much of a roller coaster. There are some ups and downs at some points in time, but the good thing is it's something I'd been preparing myself over for some quite good period of time. For in-house, I think the current change in the geopolitical landscape and the technological world, companies are facing so many cases. There's so much coming up in terms of defamation cases happening within the internet of change, the internet of change IOCs. So much is happening, and since I joined the bar, I think I've faced so many cases, and my desk is like always full every time and again. But I thank God, over time we are adjusting day by day, and we keep growing in the profession.
So how is it, maybe for our perspective, how is it for a young advocate as an in-house counsel? Do you get in and get to become a legal advisor of the company or a legal officer of the company? For some of us who haven't worked in-house, we try to understand. We understand that is where the money is, right? So what kind of insights would you give us?
Okay, for in-house, the advantage with it is when it comes to promotion. I started off as an intern, and then before I joined the bar, I was promoted to a legal assistant, and then immediately joined the bar. Thanks to goodness, I became now a legal officer. And so when you become a legal officer, it's a promotion up the ranks from an intern to a legal assistant to now a legal officer. And of course, there are instances where there are usually dry promotion, but for my case, I think the society has changed. Something has changed, and it's not a dry promotion. Something adds up in your account.
So is it a fact where we hear people say that you have to pull strings, you need to have a godfather for you to get to some spaces in the in-house industry? No, do I need to know somebody, like, for example, in a certain company to get, or how is it for a young advocate?
Some of us actually think that. It's actually very nice.
Because that is the perception we have outside here as a young advocate.
That's a cliche, guys. At times,
okay. Because somebody looks at you, actually, you even have a godfather.
Literally.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. The thing is this. There are instances where you might have a godfather, that I don't deny. Depends who you know up the ranks, your connections and what have you. But that is not usually the case. And I want to believe that at times what we are endowed with in terms of our mind is what actually drives us up. It's good we studied with you, Tali, way back in the school of law, and you can easily attest to the masses out there that when you have somebody like me in your group, and you're doing your best in terms of the activities you're given, the assignments you do, pushing yourself to those limits, you can always rise up the ladder. In fact, when I got into in-house, a very good number of my friends asked if I really had a godfather, and most of them didn't even believe when I told them it's actually by merit. Yeah, because people believe actually for you to get to those ranks, get those promotions and what have you, then you need to have like some connections, which is not actually the case. Our society, actually the law society of Kenya we have right now, is actually cleaning the airwaves. It's cleaning the legal spaces and actually making the legal practice a safe space.
He's actually brought in a good point, because even as I am an associate in a firm, I've got to discover that being an advocate doesn't really only entail going to court and drafting, wearing the wig in court of appeal at the court of appeal and saying, "Hey, your honor, my lordship, my ladyship." I've come to discover most of these law firms actually, let me use the word, collude with these guys to create problems so that we can come and solve them. I don't know whether you're an in-house counsel for government or for a private company.
No, I'm an in-house counsel for a private.
Or for a private company. Either way, I've seen people actually. There's a firm I know, I won't mention names, that just basically does legal audits, regulatory compliance checks, and they make a lot of money doing that. Yani kazi yao ilikuwa tu kuvalisha wig na kuenda kufanya hizo vitu.
You mentioned interesting issues, and it goes to the question of opportunities even available for us as young lawyers. I don't know, Miso Oyuga, you made a deliberate attempt to practice at the coast, and most of us think of the coast as a holiday place. So maybe in terms of opportunities, and you mentioned that seniors there have received you well, they've guided you well, and how do you view, from the perspective of somebody practicing on the coast, the kind of opportunities even available for us as young lawyers?
The opportunities are available. However, we can't run away from the fact that as a young advocate, you really have to rise through the ranks in order to be able to make something for yourself. You see, we come from law school straight. We have expectations that the people back at home already know. You have the title, but you really don't have so much for yourself. So even at the coast, the opportunities are there, but you have to also be aggressive to grab them. They won't just call you, especially if you are a young advocate. I think it is more difficult for a young advocate to access these opportunities, basically because you're young. I remember the first times I went to the coast, you meet a client and they see how young you are, and they even begin doubting you. You're the one who will handle my case. Wapi wakili? And you are the wakili. So, yeah, I believe that the opportunities are there, but it is more difficult for young advocates to access them.
So it brings into, there is a famous quote I watched in the series Scandal, I think season 7, and Eli Pope, the father to Olivia Pope, those who have watched the show, says that sometimes you have to work twice as hard to get half of what they have. And I think this informs a lot about us as young advocates, because then we have to put in the effort. Although Allan tries to distance himself from that, but he accepts that they are godfathers. We have again another problem of age, but again we do not complain, because then we know we have to work twice as hard, and we will get there. It just brings into the question of now being members of a professional bar, at the Law Society being an umbrella. The president received us, the vice president Faith Odhiambo received us at the Supreme Court when we got admitted. As young advocates, what, from my experiences interacting with the society, do you think there is something that the Law Society can do or should do for young advocates so far from my interaction with the young society?
Well, I think that there is something they can do for us, especially for the advocates in litigation. I believe that we can also have a seat at the table. We have very many talents, as young as we are, with the little experience of being an advocate, but we are also brilliant, and we have been admitted to the bar because we qualified. So I believe that the Law Society, through its leadership, can bring us on board, give us a seat at the table, and this can be done through the mentorships. I remember when we were admitted to the bar, some leaders, Faith Odhiambo, said that there is a mentorship that they have in partnership with the Chief Justice. I believe that way we are able to solve the issue of godfather and still have someone to hold your hand through the profession, so that while you rise through the ranks, while you get the experience, you also have that comfort or that cushion of a mentor, someone who can help you, someone who can lead you to at least sit at the table where you belong, because when we sign the role, we belong to the Law Society of Kenya.
She talks of a good point about having a seat at the table, and me, I usually say that two ways to look at it. First, we need a seat at the table, and I usually say, give us even a stool at the table. And I think the Law Society leadership can ensure us even we have a stool if we can't get a seat. But then on the mentorship, I think I loved the idea of the mentorship that you've said, that the Chief Justice, CJ Kome and Faith Odhiambo as VP, they came together. I remember attending the initial meeting at Panari, whereby the system is to work that 100 advocates upon admission, they're admitted into a scheme where they're paid 30,000 monthly, and then they're given briefs. different type of briefs, so that they are mentored into handling such briefs from all courts, from the small claims to the Supreme Court. So it guides you, I think, and it puts you there out. And it's an initiative that I think it needs to be propelled. It needs to be moved forward, because if 100 of us have been assisted, the circle will continue. I don't know, for Mr. Okari, what kind of what else do you look at what the Law Society can do for us as young advocates?
My Law Society should be able to make sure I get an equal opportunity at getting my bread and butter. For me, it is all about the bread and butter, because as a young advocate, I am not really concerned about what is happening out there. If in my own home I cannot afford milk, I cannot afford bread, I cannot afford bathing soap. So for me, first things first, as a young advocate, the society should be able to create an environment where I can be able to go to court. I stand, I am given an equal platform to speak, and that platform will enable me to get more clients. Just audience. There's one thing a young advocate needs, and it is just audience. Once you give a young advocate audience and you give them a leeway to penetrate the legal field, my friend, you've sorted that guy out for a long time. Secondly, it is one thing to penetrate into the market. It is one thing to be given a platform. It is another thing to remain standing on that platform. Let it not be the society's fault that I fall off the platform because I am a young advocate. Let it be that I am incompetent, I fall off on my own volition, but at least give me that opportunity to even get my butter and my bread. That is one thing that I am very passionate about.
Bread and butter. Indeed, bread and butter, very pertinent issues. Is there anything in-house counsel? I don't know if you need from the Law Society of Kenya. You guys with the godfathers. Yeah.
Somebody once said that the old lawyer brings experience on the table, but the new one brings in new tactics. Just like an engineer, the old engineer brings in the experience, but the new one comes in with new knowledge, new skills, technological know-how, and what have you to complete a task. Number two, somebody also once said, instead of feeding somebody fish, teach them how to catch the fish. We've been taught how to catch the fish, and now we need that space. Where are we going to catch this fish? We need the sea, we need the river, we need the lake. Exactly. We need this is our safe space. What I mean is, we now need this safe space of practice. Even at the in-house bit of it, we experience these challenges. A number of times, I go out to represent my seniors to meet clients. And with companies, you don't just meet small people. You meet CEOs, you meet directors, and all those kind of people. And when they see a young lad, the first thing they do is to kukushushia. In Swahili, they say kukushushia. They demean you first. There's a time when a certain CEO came in. He had already done his research. He had a case there, the Kenya law. He was opening for me, a case. He wanted compensation based on what another person had been compensated. Mind you, he hadn't read the whole case. So he thought, with this young guy, he could easily manipulate me so that I end up signing the documents for him and that. But I took my time, went through the case, and then invited him over for a discussion. The guy was surprised at how I'd analyzed everything, and he actually found that he was wrong. And from that day onwards, I'm the one he deals with. You see, there's something that the society has also portrayed out there, that these young people, they don't know much. It's the Gen Z, the generation. This is our generation. We don't know much. But unfortunately, we are just coming up with new ideas, new knowledge, and trying to take this market with all our fists on. So what we're trying to do is to make sure that in as much as the society out there views the young professionals as incompetent or incapable, we are indeed capable. There needs to be a paradigm shift. That paradigm shift can only come if we only have this stable and progressive bar. This stable progressive bar will come in place by empowering these young professionals, the young lawyers. Even at in-house, we experience the same things, where people demean you for maybe your years of practice or your years of experience. But in real case, you are knowledgeable enough. By the mere fact that you went through law school, went through Kenya School of Law, you did the bar, passed it, and you admitted, it means you're competent enough. The only difference, in fact, there was a time I was actually telling a colleague who had been admitted earlier, before I actually was admitted. We were working on some matter, and apparently he was experiencing some challenges, getting case laws and doing research, but I was way ahead of him. So what I actually told him was simple. Bro, the only difference between you and me is just a piece of paper, the practicing certificate. Once I become admitted and get that practicing certificate, then you won't brag about these years of experience. Because if I can do it way better than you, it means there's something I'm bringing on the table that you ain't. Yeah? Of course, what I'm driving at is the experience. Yeah? I might be new, but without those number of years. But what I can do could be way better or even similar to somebody who has been in the game for quite some time.
He's brought in a very good point. I've just realized that as a young bar, we are living in very dangerous times. You see, the seniors, the society viewed lawyers previously a different way. Back then, lawyers were known as crooks. Before things were put in place and the systems were sanitized and whatnot. Previously, lawyers were deemed to be very corrupt people, very, how do I put it? Very mischievous people. They will run away with your money. You should not trust lawyers. They are here to cause trouble and eat your money and not help you at all. Right now, as young lawyers, you've been admitted. There's the issue about being discriminated against because you're young, and people not having faith enough in you to handle their matters to perfection. So you are here, you're at the middle because your seniors are trying to show to you that you're not very haujaiva vizuri. The society out there deems you as a thief. So what do? You have two roles to play. You have to prove people that you're not a thief and that you're very competent, which is a very, very crucial. Those are two things that the society should help unburden us in a way. Obviously, when it comes to competence, we have our work cut out for us. But to some extent, we need the platform, like I said, to even display our talents and our capabilities first before being judged. We should not be condemned and heard, which is, let me play lawyer here. We are all lawyers, which is a right guaranteed in the Constitution. Right to fair, yes. Right to fair hearing, yes. And an unbiased tribunal.
Sure. And even as we're moving even towards the conclusion of this conversation, and he mentioned that teach us how to fish, but show us also the sea, show us the lake. There is a famous a quote that is raging around that sharks are born swimming. And I don't know, we got admitted at a time when the elections for the Law Society of Kenya, which as we've seen is critical even to us as young advocates in terms of opportunities, and showing us the sea has come in, and so we were born swimming already in the LSK politics. So far we have seen the drums of war beating, we have heard them. I don't even, as we just conclude, what are our individual thoughts as in-house practitioners, as a practitioner at the coast, as a young advocate, as a practitioner in town, the CBD. What is the general feeling, or as a young lawyer from the LSK politics? What would you say? What would be your comments on let's say, for example, the presidency seat?
For the presidential seat, as young advocates, as you say, we have seen people come tell us, we will do for you this, we will do for you this. They've been very friendly, and you really don't know if they're being friendly because elections are near or because they really have our interests at heart. That said, I believe that we need a president who has proven to be accessible even before elections, who has the experience it takes to maintain the bar where it is, to keep the law society where it is, but still go a step higher. We also need a president who will unite the bar, both the young bar, the senior bar, and the middle bar, so that neither side feels like they're being left out. And I believe that person is Faith Odhiambo. I've known Faith since I was a student back in campus, and she has been inclusive. She's a leader who you can go to any time and she will be of help. She is accessible, and for me, it is Faith Odhiambo for president.
The presidency is a very crucial seat. They are not only the face of the society, but they are also the face of they are the face of the society in two ways. One, they represent advocates. The president represents advocates to the outside world. And number two, the president also represents the outside world to advocates. In what way? In this way. The president should be able to speak and the society listens. We need a very strong candidate whom is not tarnished, who is not poisoned, who is not polluted, who can actually speak and can actually stand where men fall. I'm quoting from Ellen G. White, by one of my favorite authors. We need someone who can stand strong even though the winds shake and the winds blow. And at the same time can be able to invoke confidence from the other members of the society that their interests are catered for. The law society of back in the day used to be one that is highly respected. People used to fear, not even fear. Okay, some people used to fear the law society, especially the policemen. They used to, ukisikia tu mtu ni wakili, they are like, hey, where is your client? Wewe, toka nje, ongea na yeye pale. You know, right now that is not the case. We need someone who can actually stand strong and actually give us that strength and that voice back, you know. And then another thing, we need someone who can inspire confidence in people. Right now, I think even as advocates, people don't really feel that enough is being done, even though there is a lot that is being done. I believe that we need someone who has a very good and proven track record, who can actually attest to what they have done, and who has, when he or she stands, can be listened to. And for me, like Memory said, my candidate is Faith Odhiambo. Like her, we were in the same class, by the way, with this lady.
There they dropped a bomb. They say Mwalimu for them. Mwalimu stands for the respect of the bar, both in the society outside and here. I don't know, Allan, your any preferences or any comments even as we finish this conversation?
When it comes to leadership, you know, Margaret Ogola says that everything happens for a reason, if only you search diligently for it. Yeah? And the hyena, when it wants to eat its own children, it starts accusing them that they smell like goat. So we don't want a leader who is like an hyena, who when things get tough, they will start accusing us that we smell like goat and feed us. Sellouts, in other words. We want people who will stand up for us. We want people who will make us feel as members of the society. We want somebody who will make us feel that we are not just passers-by. We are not just pedestrians. Yeah? You spoke of a stool. I'd wish that we have that seat. Not just a stool, but a seat at the table. Yeah? Exactly. Yes. So what I'm trying to drive in is somebody who not only adores the senior bar, but somebody who also respects the upcoming bar, the young bar. The young bar faces a lot of challenges. And mind you, we are now becoming the majority as days goes by. Year in, year out, the Kenya School of Law is releasing new advocates into the profession. And the young bar is soon taking over this space by a storm. So we need somebody who will change, who will actually spearhead the paradigm shift so that the young advocate is equally respected as the senior. We are not picking up a fight with our seniors. We respect them. What you're trying to do is to fight for our space. Yeah? And the only person who has proven that so far is Faith Moni Odhiambo. I believe in her, I trust in her, and I know with her at the helm of the LSK, then we are in safe hands as the young bar. That's my parting shot.
There goes the bomb. It seems the conversation leads towards Faith Moni Odhiambo as the president of the Law Society. In-house counsels have spoken. Those with godfathers have spoken. The practitioners from the coast have spoken. CBD practitioners have spoken. As Tali is Tali, I am also here. Just happy for this conversation and listening even to what my colleagues have said. I have a lot of confidence, a lot of inspiration in the candidature of Faith Moni Odhiambo. She exudes the confidence that we need, the respect to she has shown to me as a person, as a young advocate. She has given me that respect. She has not treated me with contempt. She has not treated me with a condescending attitude. And I think that she has a listening ear. She will be available. And there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, I would say Faith Moni Odhiambo is the candidate I would love to support in this election.